Hi, Nick Garner here from Stamp Duty Advice Bureau, and today we're going to talk through the authorization form, signing it correctly, and also some of the terms and conditions within it so you understand what you're actually signing. So the very first thing I'm going to do is show you this. So you should get an email. It'll look a bit like this. It's got some advice on how to sign the form where you click type, click on the word type, then you would type your name in, then you would click next, and then you would sign your name here and then confirm your signature. So we're going to go and practice this now. And to do that, I'm going to go here. And here we have a test authorization. And in this, we've got some wording here, which I'm going to talk about shortly. But as you'll see, the document's been signed by me, and that's been verified because we have an audit trail here with IP addresses that shows where I am. Anyway, the next thing is for you to sign the document. And to do that, it's important that you click this and you would go whatever your name is. So I'm just going to go Nick Test because it's a test. Then I'm going to click on Sign. Now, if you have a mouse, then you'll do what I'm doing, which is to use the mouse. If you have a mobile phone, if you're doing it from a mobile phone, the best thing is to use your finger as a stylus and then sign that way. But it's important, whatever you do sign, that it looks approximately like your normal signature, if possible. Now, if you can't get the signature right, and let's say you do that, and it's all wrong, you click type, and then sign, and then you can have another go. There we are. So now that's been confirmed. The next step is to print out the document. So to print this, you would click View Print PDF. And here we have the document here. And now I'm going to print the document. So let's do that now on my printer. And I'll be back with the printed version and I'll talk you through the next steps. Okay, now we have a copy of the printed document. And the next step is to actually sign the document. So with my ballpoint pen, ideally, or and that could be a black ballpoint pen or a dark blue one, but something like that is probably best rather than a pencil. Okay, so with the ballpoint pen, I'm just going to sign the document now. And it's now been physically signed by me. Now, the reason we ask you to do this is because HMRC tell us that they want wet signatures on the documents. So when you appoint us as an agent, they need a letter signed by the lead purchaser. Now, they don't say digitally signed. They say just signed. And I did contact HMRC about this matter, and they explained that the letter of authorization has to be signed by you in this form. So physically signed. The next thing to talk about is actually signing the document. Now, my advice is to use a ballpoint pen, a black one or a dark blue one, either will do. And then to sign the document as I have. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like, if you can see that. And you can see the signature here. So make sure that the signature is near your digital signature area here. You can see it here. And if you do that, then that's a very good start. So the next step is to photograph the document. And my advice is to lay the document on a flat surface. That could be a table, could even be the floor. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that it's on a flat surface and that there's no shadows. So in other words, let's say half the document is in bright sunlight, the other in shadow, that won't help. Making sure that the document is in an even light, that's useful. So then it's laid flat, and then what I suggest you do is use a mobile phone. If you've got a scanner, do a high resolution scan, but generally people have mobile phones. So you lay the document on the table and then photograph the document like this. Now, the important thing is when you've taken the photograph, just check the image, zoom in, and make sure that the text is clearly visible. This is very important because a smudgy picture of the document won't do. The next thing I suggest you do is to take a close-up photograph of the signature, and again, lay the document down on a flat surface in shadow so that it's a nice, smooth, even light, and then take a close-up picture of your signature. And the reason for that is because when we send these documents to HMRC, they get printed out, and it's very helpful to have a detailed close-up picture of the document. And just for the purposes of explanation, I'm going to show you what we're talking about now, the kind of photographs that we would need. And here's a photograph of the printed document. And you can see here it's signed by me, just as you had seen a moment ago on my web camera. And then the next image here is a close-up image, and you can see here it's nice and crisp, and we can see the signature. It's very difficult to fake that, especially when you see how the pen stroke works, etc. So having a high resolution close-up photograph of the signatures is very helpful. So this shows us the overall document and then the close-up. All pretty simple to do and very helpful. Now HMRC miss out a lot of information on their website, but what I do know for sure, having spoken with them about this, is that they will accept a digital facsimile of the handwritten document. In explaining to them that a lot of our clients are based overseas, and it's actually very difficult to get a physical document from wherever in the world, they did accept that if they can see that a document has been hand signed by the person giving authorization, then that would be acceptable. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is what the wording is, why we ask you to sign this in the way we have. The first part of the document is simply just saying who you are and that you authorize us to work with HMRC on your behalf. And then we also talk about the stamp duty that was payable. And in many cases, it would be through a company, a limited company, let's say investor or whatever, but it could be through an individual. But in this case, it says through my company and then the company number, so that HMRC knows that what you're saying is you authorize us to act on your behalf, and that any money payable gets paid through to this company. Now, in the actual case file, there'll be references to the bank account details and so on. So then everything ties up, as it were. Now, the other points are that in this area here, where I hereby confirm, it just says that the authorization is correct and that it's just related to matters in this document. So what we're saying is that if you have a property number 1, you want to authorize us to work on your behalf, then this authorization will work for this property. Next property, you sign another authorization. And the reason is to keep everything very delineated from a legal point of view, so that there's no question. It's just this authorization for this particular property, that authorization for that one. Now, the next thing is that there's a statement of truth, and this isn't necessarily needed for a standard agent authorization form, but we felt it would be an appropriate thing to add because it just simply says that you're saying that what you're going to share in the documentation is true. So when this case is submitted to HMRC, this document, this authorization document, along with other documents, will be bundled together, and it makes it very clear to the reader that if you're intentionally providing false or misleading information, that it can result in penalties or whatever. So the underlying point here is that when the administrator from HMRC reads this document, they'll understand that you've signed the statement of truth, and therefore, if we have issues where photography isn't quite as good as we wanted, or other matters like that, at least we have a statement of truth from you saying that you accept responsibility for the truthfulness and accuracy of the information provided. So if it's ever queried, then it's clear that you've taken responsibility for this and that the information you've sent is true. And that is about it. So thank you very much for watching to the very end. Thank you.